citizenry in the private sector, there are companies like Meralco in Singapore, has done a great job of educating, and informing them on what to do. That's something that we'd like to achieve here. And when we're fortunate that we're given this opportunity, and we have partners like Meralco, Aboitiz, mali ako, private sector in general. I'm referring kasi for distribution utilities. What I wanted to say is that Beco, Beco, double IDLPC. So what I mean is that our interactions for residential sector like you and me, it's really with the companies on the distribution utilities. And so that you have an idea for our designated establishments in the room, the DOE will be sending out a survey questionnaire to you in the coming month or so. So do not be surprised. I hope you will actively participate. This is one of the things that the Department of Energy and Energy Regulatory Commission are having discussions on a pathway for us to further empower our large consumers, this time below 500 kilowatts. We're testing the waters. So I hope those who are designated establishments here answer the questions well. It will take you about 10-15 minutes. I've seen the question. But please bear in mind that this will guide agencies like the Department of Energy and the Energy Regulatory Commission in formulating further refinements on the level of contestability, whether it's on the side of ERC that it's open access and retail competition, or called in the DOE retail competition and open access. So yung po, meron yung patikim na you're expecting, you're going to get that survey for our designated establishments in about a month's time. Please answer it candidly because that will guide our policymakers as to the next steps when it comes to contestability.
Thank you for those opening comments. Engineer, anything to share with us? Maybe your reactions to the presentations earlier or any other thing that you might have?
Okay, so I think the sequence of presentations are appropriate in terms of establishing first the law in place, the framework, of course, and of course the education ministerium somehow helped me in terms of establishing the theoretical background of the air handlers, for example. So it's easier for me to share those stories with the real business case that we have with our customers.
So thank you. So in terms of energy efficiency, what do you think would be the sector that would hold the highest potential? Because right now we have not yet realized the level of efficiency. Would it be more on coming from industrial, commercial, residential? We might have different guesses, right? Different gut feels. But maybe your answers or your expert assessment might surprise us. So that's an open question for any of our three panelists.
Director Patrick has the data. So, but anyway, we all say it's going to take a whole of society, whole of government approach, and I think in each of these sectors there's a huge potential to reduce our kilowatt demand. So Alex has been saying now, and I was also surprised to learn about this. The final energy demand, 50% comes from transport sector. So we think that it's all about electricity, power, but really it's the fuel that we use in the conventional cars that we drive right now. And there are challenges, but I think it's also under Director Patrick, the EV, so he will expound on this later. There's a huge potential there, although I always hear from people, EVs, but our electricity comes mostly from coal, so parang putting one from this pocket to the other pocket, saying it's not in energy. But I don't know, there are facts that will expand on that later. In terms of, in the sectors of commercial and industrial, so I've shown you some of the technology. So I was in an energy forum also just a few weeks back, and I sat beside someone who implemented this waste recovery in a cement plant. So imagine using waste heat for another purpose. So I hope to see more of that in the, yung mga big consumers talaga in industrial. And in the commercial naman, like what I said, I appeal to the facility managers to take your job. I mean, to really look at how you consume energy, like what Engineer Gerald said. You cannot improve what you cannot measure. So start measuring, and then come to PD2, and we have many members who can help bring down your demand. Yes. So residential, I know in the US, DUs give rebates. I don't know how they do that, but right now, kasi only commercials are penalized if their power factor, power quality fall short. But in the residential, wala pa ganyan. So I don't know if in the future we'll have like that. So, kasi like what Ruth always says, what's in it for me? Diba? I was shocked for the first time. My bill I live in Quezon City is 14-something pesos per kilowatt hour. First time na nangyari. So, what's happening? What's happening?
Western prices, then just kidding. No, but what is really, all the sectors have their potential. Well, I reported in the ABP, we have seen significant investments made in energy efficiency. That's just a small portion of what can be still do. For industries in particular, there's a lot of equipment that doesn't really get maintained properly. The more efficient options, whether it's for motors, are not being deployed. And typically it boils down to cost. So what we intend to do with events like this is to show, hopefully, decision makers that if you put up the upfront cost, it may be a little bit costly at the start. The performance, the efficiency, the reduction in electricity or energy cost pays for itself. And for the residential sector, what we're doing is really working on that demand side management. You will be hearing from the Department of Energy and ERC in the coming months some refinements and revisiting of how we do DSM. It might start off for improvements on time of use, the price signaling that's done in other countries to tell people when not to use electricity or when to draw on their own. That's something that's being actively discussed right now. It will undergo a process so that the pricing signals are also given to the public and even for the private sector to put in those investments. Ultimately, our sectors require signals and hopefully these upcoming changes on the demand side will signal to both utilities and the private sector and even consumers where to put their resources. And then specifically for transport, we have rolled out the Vehicle Fuel Economy Labeling Program. I am happy to announce that I think there are already 13, 14 vehicles with the labels. So your question is, I went to a showroom, I did not see the label. Why is that? Because we're also working with the industry. The enforcement activities will start next year. So right now, it's on a voluntary, no fines yet. But what you will see in those energy labels is simple. kilometer liter of gasoline equivalent. So if you are displayed two vehicles, one internal combustion engine, one battery electric vehicle, the numbers that you will be seeing, you can understand. So you can compare apples to oranges, quote unquote. Because the figures that you will see, you can literally say this BEV runs on X kilometer liter of gasoline equivalent versus this ICE. That's what you're going to see on the labels. For some of the more sensitive information, because it's still a business, there's a QR code that you can scan. But if you'd like to see how those labels, I didn't get to see that in the AVP. You can see that at our website, vfelp.doe.gov.ph. And then finally, since people in this room also make investments, one of the low-lying fruits, quote unquote, that is left on the table typically is that when we make decisions on new constructions, new builds, factor in the efficiency, whether it's on energy, cooling, and water, even on waste. Because right now, what we're seeing is that aesthetic is giving way to efficiency. So what we're seeing is that the choice of materials, the angles of the roof, so to speak, these matter. The buildings kasi right now that's being promoted, it retains heat more. So it will require you to put up more air conditioning. And then, yeah, so that's what we're trying to say. And dun sa transport, I think I will be back here for transport. What we wanted to always remind everybody is that when we said for electric vehicles, under the comprehensive roadmap for the electric vehicle industry, our electric vehicles will be powered by renewable energy. The target is to have our electric vehicle charging station providers source their electricity from renewable energy by at least 30% by 2030 and more than 100% actually by 2040 and beyond. And we've issued the guidelines to make this happen. This is the Charging Infrastructure Development Plan guidelines that was published in the official Gazette. It will take effect on September 6. Nakita ko somebody from NGCP, and if there are distribution utilities here, it sets a prescribed timeline for you to act on applications for connections for electric vehicle charging stations. Stopping short of putting it in EVOS, which I don't think you'd like that. So, but truth be told, it's going to be a maximum of 20 plus 20, so 40, from complete submission of documents. So, days. Kasi yun yung choice. If it's not working, I'm also putting everyone on notice on that topic, we might put it in EVOS na. So it becomes more punitive. So please work with us. And then for those who have not yet bought into an electric vehicle, try to drive one. You now have more than 1,100 electric vehicles on the market. Pricing has become competitive. Our banks have offered similar loans. The concerns as to the insurance is also getting addressed as we speak. So, higher kasi before. Now, hindi na rin. So, we're listening. And then for your concerns on after sales, we're working already with the industry and Tesla so that there will be technicians on hand and ready. Kaya, please make the switch if you have. My family has. Nakapambola na ako sa family ko eh. 5 na yung bumili nakalima na kaming EV this year. So, konti pang bola. Sana maka-5 bola. When you drive one, you're going to realize that the driving is superior plus the cost. It's really cheaper to run. Diba, Miss Ruth, you just run yours. You're now driving a full battery electric.
How about the news?
Ikaw na talaga yun.
Kasi yung dati sabi ko, Tesla kasi
you know the concerns as to the explosions. You might have seen, these are the things that come out for electric vehicles since it's also in promoting it for efficiency. The one that happens when it explodes in South Korea, you might probably have read it, seen it in the news. about a year and a half ago in Seoul, South Korea, the condominiums, they banned electric vehicles kasi it exploded, fire hazard. I won't mention the brand kasi European yung brand. But under investigation, the results indicated that there was a damage in the battery. So, kaya siya nag-explode, battery damage. The other one that you've probably seen of late is the explosion that happened in a cargo ship. I think from Mexico to the United States or somewhere. That was investigated. They did not identify that the electric vehicle was the source of ignition. That carrier was also carrying non-electric vehicles. Third, so if you're concerned as to the fire, the DOE issued last May, effective last June this year, rules to guide our fire sector, BFP, which now require charging stations to have the specific type of fire suppressant, because if there's a fire in an electric vehicle, you do not use water. I have to say that kasi that's the knee-jerk reaction. So hindi. There's a specific fire suppressant. If that is expensive for you, kasi pag nagamit tapos na, we've also indicated in those rules that you can use a fire blanket. So you will deprive the fire of the ignition fuel, which is oxygen. Yun, medyo mahal yung blanket, pero you can reuse the blanket. So, truth be told, when it comes to fire, there's typically something wrong with the battery that gets damaged. Now, the other question, the serious question that we often hear, here in the Philippines, baha, paano yung electric vehicle? Okay. The answer to that is that, did you know that it's safer for you to drive an electric, a battery electric vehicle in flood waters? Why? Walang tambutso yan. There's no fuel intake. Walang papasukan ng tubig. So, now you're asking, so I should drive my BEV, my battery electric vehicle in flood waters? Answer is still, no. Why? If the level of flood is so high that your vehicle itself is already, the wheels are not touching the road, you're floating, your vehicles are that land transport vehicles. It does not have rudders. It is not a... But if you're interested, if you think I'm talking bullshit when it comes to that, you can just search in social media, in Indonesia in particular. Pure battery electric vehicles are waving through the streets of Jakarta. So, but do I encourage you to do it? No, because it's still not safe. You cannot steer. You do not have a rudder. So, balik tayo doon. O, bakit nyo ayaw pa mag-EV? Kuryente. Electricity is expensive. Did you know that we did a study already that 5 pesos per kilometer for internal combustion engine, for HEVs and plug-in hybrids, 3 pesos and 50 centavos per kilometer. And then for electric vehicles, it's just a little over 8 peso per kilometer. So, full electric. So people are asking, kasi ganito yan. The prices of electricity, as long as the ratio is that it doesn't exceed 20 pesos, and your cost of fuel is more than 60 pesos, that ratio stays. And if you put in a solar home system in your house, which I do, I'm encouraging Ms. Ruth to do, libre pa siya. Kasi kahit naka-slow charge ka, you can top up almost 12 kilowatt hours in one day. Oh. And then yung last question. I will not be able to go places with an electric vehicle because there's not enough charging. Your vehicles right now that's being sold, the range starts at 350, 400, 500 kilometers. That will take you to Baguio already. That will take you to Baguio already. So if you're wondering, can I drive an electric vehicle to Baguio? I can answer you right now, yes. I've done so. And did you know that going down, you actually charge because of regenerative braking. Charging, I mean. There's a charging station in John Hay. There's a charging station in SM. There are charging stations all over Baguio City. If you don't believe me, visit evindustry.ph. So truth be told, from Baguio all the way down to, T-Plex, you can even come out at 100% charge. And if you do not drive like a crazy person and stay within the speed limit around 80, not more than 100, you can drive all the way here to Makati from Baguio on a full charge. You'll reach Makati at around 60, 58. Worst is 40 something. If you're really, accelerate ka.
Okay. So thank you, Director.
Ayan na, wala na, sorry.
We still have time.